Well, that's Switchfoot and Live It Well. It is Rhema, 17 minutes past 10 o'clock. Great to be at your place this morning, and it's always nice at the end of the working week as well. Well, we've got a bit of a treat for you this morning. The international staff Songsters from the Salvation Army HQ in London, England, are in New Zealand at the moment. It's the Salvation Army's premier choir, and I'm joined by Paul and Dorothy. Now, before we start, you can tell me your official titles. Paul, so what's your title with the Salvation Army?
Okay, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Paul Main, and I'm the Executive Officer to the International Staff Songsters, and my day job is Head of Personnel throughout the UK and Ireland.
Brilliant. And Dorothy?
Well, my official title this week is that I'm Dorothy Nancekievill, the leader of the International Staff Songsters, but in the daytime, my job is a head teacher in a Methodist school, sort of just outside London.
Great. So obviously the international staff songsters are a big deal. Do you get to travel a lot? Do you come to New Zealand often?
Well, the last time the staff songsters came to New Zealand was 20 years ago. But you're right, we get to travel quite a lot. During the normal year, we go somewhere different in the UK, so anywhere from south of England to Scotland to Northern Ireland. But every sort of 3 or 4 years, we get a chance to travel abroad. Unusually, this year, we've already been to Kenya. Wow. And we had an amazing time there for a couple of weeks with a lovely African Salvationists who are doing a tremendous job there in Nairobi.
Brilliant. What is the International Staff Songsters all about? What's the mission, the mandate?
Okay, well, really it's to take the gospel as it's been put to music and to communicate that in its various styles. So it's a group of Salvationists from all around the UK coming together to use their talent, but also to communicate the gospel.
Yeah. Obviously, the music thing is a huge thing for the Salvation Army and always has been. William Booth and the people that founded the Salvation Army would put old sort of pub tunes and new words and things, and they were very contemporary. So music is a huge part of what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess it's probably the unique selling point of the Salvation Army. But you'll find all different sorts of expressions of that. And I guess for us, what we're trying to do is to connect with people. So we'll sing a whole variety of different styles. So we'll go from very choral type of music to quite contemporary music, a cappella music. Sometimes we sing along with, brass instruments and a whole combination of things. In fact, in the recent past, we also performed with a professional orchestra, a performance of Handel's Messiah.
Wow.
And they were really keen to sing with a choir, to put that performance on with people actually who believed what they were singing. So we had a fantastic time in Llandaff Cathedral in Cardiff.
Beautifully pronounced there as well.
Yes, my husband's Welsh, so I had to get that right.
How did the International Staff Songsters start? I mean, what's the history?
Well, it's 37 years old, and it started in the 1980 by General Arnold Brown, who was a Canadian, and he saw a great opportunity for choral music, vocal music, and so he started under Lieutenant Colonel Norman Bearcroft.
Yes, he wanted us to sort of keep singing the heart songs of the Salvation Army, and so you will find in all of our concerts there will be somewhere in there maybe an older piece that really gets to the point of what we're singing about. So, for example, we've already sung on this tour a beautiful song called "The Christ of Calvary," and it very clearly talks about what we believe and what we can share with other people. That particular song we also know has influenced lots of people. We've got an example of somebody who just kept playing it in their car and ended up going into full-time service as a Salvation Army officer. And it's lovely to get that sort of feedback that our songs are kind of there to inspire and challenge people.
Yeah. The Salvation Army obviously known for its social work, and in New Zealand I think is very well known, I can't speak on behalf of the whole world, for the Red Shield Appeal and the work that they do socially. I guess it's nice for you guys to be able to really focus on the church side of the Salvation Army, because for you it's all about Jesus, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Often, I'm so absolutely delighted to be part of a denomination that does practical things, because actually I think unless you do practical things, your Christianity isn't really meaning anything. Having said that, it's lovely to be able to be reflective. Last night, we had a wonderful cultural welcome to New Zealand, and we've done all sorts of, we listened and we had a fantastic Maori welcome. But then we had a very spiritual time together. And there was a real feeling of reverence, a real feeling of worship. And I think it's something that we will all remember with great affection, and something that really touched our hearts.
Is it a voluntary organisation, the International Staff Songsters? I mean, are the people who are a part of it paid, or how does that work?
I'm the only one that's paid, because I'm a part of what we would call the clergy. Everyone else gives their time voluntarily, paid employment, but not to be a member of the church. No, but
sure. And obviously, it's quite competitive. So, how do you run auditions and things?
Competitive? Surely not.
Never.
Well, I mean, it's a very good choir, is all I'm saying. So, you're not going to let any hobo in, are you?
To let me in.
Well, if I could just go back though, that it means that everybody who's there has a whole range of different sorts of jobs. You know, the day jobs are quite different, so they bring a different sort of expertise.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. We are the only choir in the UK that is auditioned. In corps around the country, you can just join the choir. And I think that's a great thing. Singing's fantastic for that. You can feel part of a corporate experience. But for the staff songsters, you have to come and you've got to sing and you've got to do a rehearsal, and you also have to be of good character. We have to do checks with the local ministers to make sure that you're going to be somebody who's going to really add spiritually to the group as well as musically.
That's great. Well, we're going to hear you sing now, and I found this song online, a rendition of More Than Wonderful from the International Staff Songsters, and we'll come back and continue our conversation right after this. The Salvation Army International Staff Songsters with their beautiful rendition of More Than Wonderful. Man, that was so nice. It's so great to hear choral music on the station because we don't play it as much as we should.
It's one of our very special pieces. We sing it at every concert at the end of, and we kind of call it our anthem. And it's a song that means a lot to us because for faith reasons, Jesus is more than we can ever express. And that's what we're doing.
That's brilliant. What's your hope for the future of the group? What's the plan?
Well, we are 37 years old at the moment, and we're going to be 40 years old. So we're kind of, as soon as we've come back from our tour of New Zealand and Australia, we're going to start trying to do some planning about that. My own personal vision, which I haven't really shared with anybody else yet, is to really
this is a public forum.
Well, okay.
We'll see.
But it's kind of to just try and use it as an occasion to get people singing together, because I do think when you have a feeling of belonging, that's a great thing. But also to kind of emphasise why, in the church singing is really, really important, and it kind of can reach the parts that other things can't. So my vision would be to try and think of some sort of event that can pull together all different styles of singing, all different sorts of groups and ages, and hopefully that will be an exciting thing. But I don't know what it's going to be just yet, because there's a lot of talking needs to happen before then.
I think one of the positive things is the number of young people that we have in our choir, that it's not kind of the middle-aged. We've got quite a lot of early 20s, and that's been a real positive thing for us to encourage them, not only musically but spiritually as well, and the impact that has beyond the staff songsters and at local corps and at music schools and all that kind of thing. So it's something that is impacting the Salvation Army locally in the UK.
And I think we've got lots of different ages. We've probably got, I'm trying to think, the youngest one would be about 20.
Yeah.
And the oldest one would be about 70. And, where else are you going to get that cross-section of ages? And it's really good. So we all learn from each other.
Now, I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you know when you're performing and when people can come and see you?
Absolutely. Well, you can come this evening if you're available. We'd love to see you at Auckland City Core, and that's going to be at 7:30 tonight. And then tomorrow, if you fancy a trip to Wellington, you can come along to that festival, that concert there, because that's where we'll be performing next.
Well, we're broadcasting in Wellington, so there'll be people who would love to come along. And I understand that the tickets are being sold on eventfinder.co.nz. He looks around for some confirmation of that, but
and we just turn up. We'll
look on the website.
If there's no seats, you can have mine. It's fine.
You can find details online. I'm sure. I think it is wonderful that you're doing what you're doing, and music is one of those things that transcends culture, isn't it? You mentioned visiting Kenya before. You probably don't speak the same language, but once you start singing, you're joined by something bigger, aren't you?
You do, absolutely, and it pulls you together. One of the occasions that we had in Kenya was out in the middle of nowhere. We had travelled in a rather dangerous bus, I would have to say. I'm glad we're all still here to tell this tale. But when we got there, it was as much about people there singing and dancing for us. Yeah. So we performed and did something. Yeah. And then I was sitting by our translator, and there were different groups. There were Maasai groups, fantastic coloured, cotton garments everywhere. And I was asking her for the translation, and she was a Nairobi girl, and she actually didn't know what they were singing about. But you could tell about the joy of the Lord. You could tell by their faces what they were singing about, and it was just such a privilege to sing together, to be together. Yeah. And the creative arts are a wonderful medium for communicating the gospel. Just amazing.
Yeah. Well, on behalf of us at Rhema and all of New Zealand, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for what you do, both in the Salvation Army and with the International Staff Songsters as well. Really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, let's carry on with music from Mercy Me. This is Dear Younger Me on Rhema.